Good evening and welcome to the Living Well podcast, where we focus on holistic wellness and the interconnectedness of mind, body, and spirit so that you can live your life whole, empowered, and leading with love. I am so excited for our session tonight, our episode. This is episode 20. I can't believe that we've got 20 episodes already. And man, I am so excited about tonight. I'm not going to give too much about it because I wanted my guest tonight. I want her to share her story. But thank you all for joining me. I wanted to just share, living well. This is a vision that was given to me by God to showing me how that we can live well. That even though we have circumstances that come up in our life and we have situations and trials and tribulation, how do we overcome these things and how do we succeed and be victorious and live a victorious life? And so with all that being said, if you are liking the content, I ask that you continue to like, share, comment, engage in the discussion, engage in the conversation. This is not just us talking, but also listening to you. The feedback helps me to understand and know that I am providing value. So make sure that you guys like, share, and comment. Also, on YouTube, we're going to be streaming on YouTube and on Instagram and here on my Facebook profile. So with that, I'm going to now introduce my guest and tonight's topic. My guest is Antoinette Terrel. She is an executive business partner, a certified holistic wellness coach, a natural health advocate, and a well-being health educator. Antoinette is not only a wife, a mother, she's a sister, she's a woman of God and has been through some things. And that's what we're going to share because our topic tonight is love's healing journey from heartbreak to happiness. So with that being said, Antoinette, did you make the call?
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Yolando. This is fun. This is fun.
Yes, yes, yes. So I have a few questions that I want to ask you. But I also just want to share as well that, this episode is going to be about a transformative journey of healing because that's what living well is. When in order for you to live whole, empowered, and leading with love, your heart has to be healed, your emotions have to be healed, and we have to go through a lot of things. But what this does is it paves the way for a deeper, more authentic experience of love, not only for yourself, but also for others and building those authentic relationships. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I've given all the accolades of, your titles of who you are, but can you share with us who is Antoinette Terrel?
Bay Area native. I love born and raised in San Francisco, so I just love the Bay Area. Never thought that I'd leave, but here we are. We're not even living in the Bay Area, but we're still in Northern California. Married, like you said, to Francis, two adult children. I have two adult children, and I'm soon to be son-in-law. My daughter is engaged. You know, uh, Gosh, what else is there to tell you? Like you mentioned, I'm an executive admin. I've been in administration for over 25 years. Ever since high school, I was able to type 100 words per minute. So that kind of, yeah, ever since high school, that kind of paved the way of my career path. So yeah. So by day, I'm an administrator. I organize people's lives, and by night, I'm passionate, extremely passionate about health and wellness, natural health, like you mentioned, and church. I love church. So
Well, thank you. That actually was the next question I was going to ask because I noticed that you are a certified holistic wellness coach, and that's similar to some of the things that I am doing as a life coach, really helping people to transform their lives. Can you go into a little bit depth about what you do as a holistic wellness coach?
So I guess it all starts with like my journey, that led me to become a certified wellness coach. My son, he was diagnosed with severe food and environmental allergies, and after the he went into anaphylaxis, and that's how we found out that he was allergic to peanuts and certain foods. And so that was really scary because you watch him and he's like 2 or 3 years old, and he's starting to like not be able to breathe. And so I just, after the pediatrician said that he will need to take medication for the rest of his life, I said, I don't think so. And so something happened, like something inside me just switched. Like I knew in my heart's heart that there was no way I'm going to have him, be dependent upon medication for the rest of his life. And so a friend of mine, one of my best friends, she introduced me to a product that we were able to, detox. So, I did something different that most parents don't ever think about really is, I did a heavy metal detox. So we did a detox. And then all the things that led me to, like, once you start asking those questions, it opens up another, like another layer of questioning. It opens up Pandora's box. You're like, what is this? What's this? What's this? And so I just asked a bunch of questions. And then, one day he was sick and he caught pneumonia. And I was exhausted. One year we were in and out of the hospital 9 times. And so I just said, there has to be a better way. And I Googled Never Be Sick Again. And there's a book called Never Be Sick Again. So I bought the book. I read it cover to cover within 3 days. I did everything that it said, everything in the book. I
Hmm.
ahead of it because I did a cellular detox. I did heavy metal testing. And within 9 months, we were able to wean him off medication. So something wanted me to find out if I was doing the right thing, if you will. And so I found a school, and that's how I became a certified wellness coach. And so all I do is I help people who want the same, because nobody helped me. And it was challenging because I was doing that all by myself. And so I'm here as a coach to, just little baby steps of education and just information, and then I just guide parents and families who want the same. So that's what I basically do. I've done like a home health walkthrough where you're looking through your cabinets, and you're looking at learning how to read the ingredients of
Hmm.
labels, and understanding all that, GMOs and high fructose corn syrup. And so that just kept on going and just leading on to other things.
Well, that is actually amazing because that is something, that we really need to do is learn how to be advocates for our own health. Unfortunately, there are some medicines that when they give you something to treat one situation, it actually causes different problems.
Absolutely.
And so I really admire you for taking that step and going for a more natural or holistic approach, because nutrition, and they have studies on this, have been reported how nutrition has a direct correlation to our healing and health. And
Absolutely.
however, God, he made this body amazing that if you feed it the right things, the
The
body
body
can
will
and
do.
will heal itself.
Absolutely. And it didn't happen overnight, obviously. You have to learn, and then you have to make small baby steps. So, he's over 18 now, and I can't even tell you, we don't even pop Tylenol. We don't even take Tylenol,
Mhm.
any over the counter medication. We've been completely drug free since. And you just have to find ways to, proper nutrition, changing your personal care products, your household products. You just live a completely non-toxic and drug-free life. And then your body, your home environment. So it all doesn't just start with what goes inside your body, but also your environment. And that's what we did.
Hmm. I would add to that, it's also your mindset, because
Absolutely.
that's one thing that I noticed with you. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because it all begins with the mind, with the thought, and then you move forward.
So yes, as a coach, there's different stages of making changes, with your client. You're contemplative, you have to be ready, right? And so people think about it, they learn about it, but then there's always something going on that will, like, oh no, it's too hard or whatever. And so I don't know what it was. I mean, call it leading of the Holy Spirit. And it was just something that I just decided that um I wanted to make changes. And so I started reading a lot of books, Never Be Sick Again by Raymond Francis. That's a great book. The book. Another is how to stop ADHD in 18 days by Dr. Maria. I forgot the other doctor's name, but the drugless doctor. They call him the drugless doctor. And then we do chiropractic care. We do chiropractic adjustment every week. So those are, you have to not only just feed your body, but you have to learn. You have to learn. You have to self-educate. You have to heal, and then you start asking questions. You start networking with other people. You find all of a sudden you find your community, and then you just learn from them. So I remember I was going to a health conference, and this lady said, well, your son has food allergies, right? And you don't want to do medication. I said, yes. He goes, well, heal his gut. Well, that opened up another thing. And so I bought books, to anything about healing your gut. And then, leadership development, right? Finding the right people who have what you want, and you learn from them, and you get mentored by them. And that's how that's how you and I met, through a leadership training program, and then, and traveling and all that stuff. But yeah, it's all mutually, it's all inclusive, if you will. But definitely mindset. You have to get it right around the right people, read the right books. You are in control of your life and what you put in your body and what you do without, outside. So yes.
I totally agree with that. And so with our title was our title is Love's
Yes.
Healing Journey from Heartbreak to Happiness. So I know you shared a little bit about your son. When you're talking about from heartbreak to happiness, how did this heartbreak of having to deal with your son and maybe some other situations in your life allow you to grow or get to the point where you could experience happiness again?
So, I mean, that was just with my son, and that whole thing was a traumatic experience just because I was alone. But it really started when I was a kid. I'm a child abuse survivor and domestic abuse survivor, suicide survivor, and a recovered drug addict. And, so I talk about that. So my heartbreak really started with getting broken by other people. And then as I got older, I did, they're self-inflicted, right? Because of the drugs and alcohol, and, the statistics of child abuse, and, any kind of abuse, everybody turns to drugs and alcohol. So that's, I'm a statistic, and that's exactly what happened. But I just, and then there was a point in my life. So all that happened from childhood, teenage years. I mean, I've been to halfway homes. I've been to a convent. I've been to jail, like all those things, from being broken, from not having the right support system, or, just then self-inflicted. As soon as I turned 18, I left the house, and then I never came back. And then, I hooked up with, someone, and then, I got pregnant, and then didn't work out. And so now I was a single mom, homeless and jobless. And, I literally just had, the clothes on my back and the car that I drove. I had nothing, and I had no family. I wasn't talking to anybody. And I just remember just, feeling the lowest point of my life. It was the lowest point of my life. And I just remember I was 5 months pregnant, crying in the car, and just saying, okay, it's just me and you, kid. It's just me and you, kid. And that moment was when Jesus met me. And, I was just like, okay, God, I see, I feel it. And then, God will bring you an angel that you don't even realize an angel until it's over. And her name is Mariah. And she said, why don't you come stay with me? Didn't even really know her. I was just introduced to her. And she said, just come stay with me. And I was like, okay, because I was a 23-year-old single mom, homeless child, and she just took me in and took care of me and drove me to my doctor's appointments. And then, you just take it one day at a time. After I had my daughter, I reconciled with my family, and then I just got a job, and it was just her and I, her and I, her and I. It was like obsessed. It was just like, okay, it's just me and you, kid. And then because of my love for her, that's when I learned how to love myself. And then I went to church. I opened up my Bible. I started reading. And then that's when I just started to learn about God's love for me. And then just removing all the layers of all that, the self-hatred, the abuse, the trauma. And then I just went to church. And then, of course, what happens when you go back to church? The enemy tries to hold on to you and starts whispering all those, you're not good enough. Your kid's gonna be exactly like you growing up. I was a troubled teen, and she's never gonna amount to anything. And then I don't know what it was. Well, the Holy Spirit again, and just said, you know what? That's not going to happen. You know why? Because I trust my God, and my God's got us. And then it just, you get that confidence, Godfidence, if you will, and you get all that,
Mm-hmm.
you just get that strength because I loved my daughter so much. It wasn't about me anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and then I met my husband, and he was everything that I had prayed for, if you will. And then I was able to find love again, right? And then we had our son, and then the love, a mother. I'm a boy mom, and having a daughter and a son is completely different,
Yes,
and
it is.
and then my son, he's so loving, and it's just like our bubble, my bubble, my home life has just been great, and
Mm-hmm.
I owe it all to the grace of God. Um, but, you know, I finally feel safe, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy. It wasn't easy, I should say, because I had to heal the inner child. And so I go to therapy. I went to talk therapy. I did Celebrate Recovery. I did Life's Healing Choices, Cleansing Stream. And it's just, you have to be the one to control everything. Like, well, not you're not in control, but you have to be willing to surrender to God's guidance.
Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, and so from trauma, I'm a trauma survivor of abuse and addiction, and then finding love for it wasn't about me. I love
Mm-hmm.
my daughter, I love my husband, and then my son, and God just completed that. But you have to be willing to surrender to whatever He says, and that's the key.
And I love what you just said. You have to be willing to surrender. I was reading through some of my social media platforms earlier today, and I was reading about one. They were talking about heal yourself. And I was like, well, you are a participant in healing yourself. However, the true healing
Mm.
comes from an outside source, because
Mhm.
if we could heal ourselves, we've been healed a long time ago.
A long time ago. A
A
long
long
time.
time ago. I'd have been here a long time ago. And just because we get healed doesn't mean that we still don't go through things. But the thing is, we go through them differently. Hey, Dion. Dion says, hello, beautiful ladies. Yeah, it doesn't mean that we go through it, we go through it differently, because we have healed from some things that we're able to walk through it with confidence. We have more patience, we have more peace, we have what we call joy, because there is a
Mm.
difference between joy and happiness. Generally,
Absolutely.
happiness is based on happenings with your circumstances,
Yep. But joy.
whereas joy is something like, no matter what's going on, okay, Lord, you got it. Psh, let me go on and go to sleep, or go on about my day, go do what I gotta do, and God, and trust that God will take care of you, because He says we are His children.
Yeah,
And if
and
He
the
gives us
only
good things.
yes, and like you said, I've learned. So that's my word for 2024 is surrender. Just because in 2023 it was a little bit, God was pivoting, my life. I mean, we uprooted out of, we were living in Fremont for 13 years, and now we're not even there. And we moved out with blind faith, and then just going to a new church, finding a new tribe. You start to I lost like all my friends, from the past, and then you're going into a new environment, and then you're just like, okay, I understand why we're here, and so the brokenness of it's just starts to heal, right? And another thing, surrender is my 2024 word, but God always restores what the enemy has broken if you allow Him to do that. And this is a what this is a my daughter's what 30, and it's a 30-year journey, right?
Yes.
for
As
30
long
years.
as we're living, it's a journey. But
And it's
it's a
every day.
journey that has to be taken.
Absolutely.
And everyone reaches their rock bottom at different times. Everyone is unique and individual. And, when they get to the point where they have had enough, then generally they do reach out and say, hey, I need some healing. I need some help. And that's one thing I've always said is that we were created for connection. We were not created for isolation. And when the enemy tries to put it in our heads, well, I just need to go off on an island by myself. Well, no, not
No,
necessarily, because you weren't
no,
created for that. We were
no.
created
We
out of
were
love,
created for
harmony,
community,
and
right?
connection.
I mean,
All right. So I
go
have
ahead.
another question for you.
Go for it.
So with all of the things like you shared, about being homeless and been the drug addict and had the child pregnant, everything. How has this healing process transformed your perspective on love and connections?
Ooh. Um, well, I have to share, my father passed away in September 2021, and then my best friend, and then my brother, all within a year and a half. And so I changed, grief changes everything, right? It's one thing when you can compartmentalize all the, like you had a hard day or whatever, or, you have all these unfinished business that you have to take care of. It's one thing. But with my brother's death, and he died by suicide, when he passed away, the love switched, meaning it's more intentional, it's more present, and it's daily, right? You have to, it's one thing, like my life was great before my dad passed away, even though we were going through the pandemic and sheltering in place. But something shifted, in 2021 to 2022. But my mindset is completely different now. My love, like I can see everyone. I genuinely look at everyone the way the way Jesus would. I want to see you the way Jesus does, because that's all it is, right? God is love, and you can't love another human being. You can't. If you don't have that love, then you really don't have any self love, right? So I hope that answered the question.
Yes, that did answer the question. And first of all, we just want to say, empathize with you, for your loss and everything, because it is definitely a journey going just through the whole grieving process and loss by itself. And we have known each other for quite some time. So I also want to say that, you know what, you have been a rock. I have now seen this transformation from before to now, and I'm telling you, girl, you got it going on. You got it going on. So,
You know what?
just so you guys know, we hadn't seen each other in a long time. We've been following each other on social media platforms.
Well, we saw each other at Carl's, right? So
yes, Carl service.
briefly, right?
Yes, but
Yes.
it's been a while.
Yes.
Last year, yeah. But I mean, really connecting and spending that time like we did before. It had been a minute. And
Yes.
so to see the growth that
Aw.
that I'm seeing in you right now, I know that it's because of God. And I know that you truly have gone from heartbreak to happiness, and how God can truly help to transform our lives when we surrender and when we give it all to Him, and just be willing to engage and go through the process. Because guess what? I read this book, The Road Less Traveled, and the first thing it says is life is hard. Get over it. Life is a journey. As long as we're in this flesh, and a lot of I hate that phrase, get over it, because I don't, you can't just get over some things. But you do need to embrace the process, and allow the emotions, allow the feelings to happen, so that you can work your way through them. A lot of times, depending on what time period you grew up in, we were taught to you stuff those emotions. You don't express those emotions. You don't let those feelings out. You hide it. And all that has done
How's
is
that working out for everybody?
all it's done is really created people walking around with mental health issues, because we've been stuffing stuff instead of dealing with it.
Yeah, there's so much stigma about that, right? Mental health services or mental health support, especially with men. I think, or just men in general. I mean, like you said, depending on what year did they grow, where culture, right? What year, where, and when they grew up. But yes, we have to normalize mental health
Yes. Exactly. All right, here's my last question to you. All right, so I've really enjoyed the different resources that you've given, the sharing your story, and your story is a powerful story, and thank you so much for sharing it. But as we close, do you have any, like, can you share any like practical tips or strategies that helped you that can help someone else to navigate through the challenges of healing and finding love again?
Take advantage of downtime, right? I think we are always in the hustle, right? We're always doing something. Um, and so what I've learned through grief and just protecting my mindset and all that is just take advantage of some downtime, right? It's the meeting that you never cancel. Exercise, exercise, especially, movement, exercise is the most underutilized form of, stress relief. Even during my grief, I always worked out. I still went to the gym. I would cry in the gym, just lifting weights. But just take advantage of some downtime. Block 30 minutes and get off all technology.
Well, since you mentioned exercise, I know we were closing. Don't you do like a jujitsu or some? What do you do? Weightlifting with the weights and stuff. What are you?
So right now I'm still just lifting, in the gym. I did CrossFit, I did powerlifting. I love powerlifting. But kickboxing, I used to do that. That's how my husband and I met. So I'm always doing something.
Okay. Well, we have a question in the chat, if you
Oh
don't
yeah.
mind. This is from Dion. She says, "How did you handle the fact your brother committed suicide, and what helped you through the pain?"
Um, well, so my father and my best friend passed away before that. There's it's like Celebrate Recovery, but it's called Grief Share. So thank you, Shar. Shar is the
Mm-hmm.
one that introduced me to Grief Share.
Mm-hmm.
So I was in the middle of Grief Share, and it's a support group, that focuses on grief, faith based. So I was in the middle of that during when my brother passed away. Um, but it's all God. I can't even explain it. Just it's all God. Just finding the right people to help you walk you through the process.
Exactly. Well, I hope that answered your question, Dion, and I totally agree with that. Supporting yourself with like-minded individuals, people who can lift you up, people who can give you word, people who can encourage you, and sometimes people who can just be there to listen, not tell you what to do, not tell you how to act, not tell you how to behave, or tell you how to feel. Somebody who can just be there and just embrace being present with you while you go through and feeling the emotions. And we
Mhm.
never understand why some people, why people that make the choices that they do. And that's why, like you said, Antoinette, mental health is so important, because, and that's why I think that God gave me the mind, body, and spirit, because you need to have the balance in all three of those areas, or you're going to be lacking. You're going to feel like, you're scattered all over the place, or you're out of position, which we are, and we're not in proper alignment when we don't have each part of the human being experience connected and in the right position. And so
Yeah, you
when
just don't do
when
it
that
alone.
happens, huh?
Just don't do this alone.
Yes, don't do it alone.
Every cell in your body will say, "I don't want to see anyone." You want to isolate, and you don't listen. Do something different. Just you join a support group.
Yes, get out. And she said, where can a person find, what was the name of that support group you
Grief
said?
share. It's griefshare.org, I think. Um,
Okay.
yeah, you can do. I did mine online, um, but you can do it online. Online if you don't want to. You don't even have to share. You just
Mhm.
want to be around the people, and you can hear their stories and how everyone overcame. It's all about hearing other people's testimonies, so it'll give you encouragement and hope.
Well, thank you so much. You have blessed me, and I hope you have blessed others today by sharing some powerful and profound information today. I know that you provided value because I even learned something myself. So I really appreciate you agreeing to be a guest on the podcast today. Can you just tell people where can we find you at? What platforms?
So I'm pretty active on Instagram. My Instagram is coach_Antoinette Terrel. I'm also, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook, but I'm primarily active on Instagram. But before we go, Yolanda, I just wanted to say that I am so proud of you, and that I've always known since the first day that we met that this would be something that you would do, and look at you, here you are doing it, and I just can't wait to see where this leads you. And I'm 100% supportive of everything that you do. So, and I love you.
Well, thank you so much. And it's definitely a God thing. Yes. All right. So thank you so much for, like I said, joining us today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We pray that something was said today that provided some value, maybe some practical tools or some steps that you can apply to your life and help you through whatever situation that you're going through. We will be back next Thursday at 5:30 p.m. So make sure that you tune in. And until then, you guys have a blessed rest of your night. And always remember that you are valuable, you're important, and you are needed. God bless you and good night.
Bye.